If somebody wants to do something bad enough, there's always a way to make it happen, right? I mean, Elizabeth's proved that. You are doing that. Everybody is doing that. There's always a way to make it happen. By the way, did y'all see my video that I posted this morning of the opening ceremony for the World University Games that started this morning in China?
No, where is it?
It's in
Not the
China.
games. Where's the video?
Oh, so I posted on mine. I posted also in the Rockstar Agent group. But I know the young lady that was carrying the US flag in the opening ceremony.
Cool. Does everybody know that?
That's pretty cool.
Does everybody know that your daughter's a boss babe?
No. No.
Y'all, she is amazing. She's an Olympian. Okay, we are live. I'm gonna just let people in. All right, I'm super excited. Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? Because it's keep telling me my internet's unstable. Okay. It could be I'm just unstable, but they're just being nice and saying it's my internet. I am in a hotel in Atlanta, hot Atlanta, where I actually got my first real estate license. So it's kind of weird to be back here. But I'm excited about Huddle this morning. So we have talked in Huddle, but also in those of you that are in Rockstar, and we keep hearing how to communicate with buyers and sellers and different scenarios, right? And so one of the things I was thinking is like, for people like me that have been in the business a long time, it's just trial and error, and you just kind of figure it out as you go along. But it really comes down to the disc profile. And when I've talked to a few people, there's so many people that don't even know what the disc profile is. And it was surprising to me. And so I went to Rob, who knows the disc profile very, very well. I know the disc profile, but I think y'all listen to other people teach things other than me. So I am bringing in Rob this morning. We're going to talk all things disc. Who is not familiar with disc? DISC. Okay. So we're going to talk through each of these. Rob's going to share. We can collaborate and communicate on it as well. But Rob, I'm going to mute out and I'm going to let you take it. Okay. And let's talk about how we can better communicate with our clients, our agents, our community, everybody and above. So Rob, thanks for being here this morning. And
my pleasure. Absolutely. This is one of my favorite subjects, as some of you know, and some of you may not, but you'll find out in a minute. This is, and you may want, I don't know if you can do co-host now, or if I can just put, because I've got some graphs and things that I'd love to share with them, if that's possible.
Oh, I can share the screen. So you have sharing. Okay. You're all set now.
All right.
Yeah, I just can't do co-host. Yep.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So how many of you know what you are on a disc profile? Ooh, okay. We have a lot of hands that did not go up in that as well. So let me give you an idea of a disc profile and what the overall is, and then we're going to dive into it, all of the different personalities. So this is my fun way of describing what a D, an I, an S, and a C is. So you have a D, an I, an S, and a C walk into an elevator together. The D is the one that's pushing the elevator button door to get it to close before everybody gets on there and really doesn't care who gets on and who gets off of it, right? The I is the one that's in the middle of the elevator, already knows everybody's name, is holding court and doing a presentation in there. The S is the one that has their arm around the outside of the elevator door to keep it from closing while the person that's late running down the hall gets on safely. And the C is the one that's really quiet. They're standing in the corner of the elevator, evaluating everybody's weight in coordination with the capacity of the elevator to make sure it gets to the top. All right, did y'all get that? So now, which one are you? Which one? Let me see. How many D's are there from the people that I can see? Okay, good. How many I's are there from the people I can see? Okay, S's. Okay, C's. All right, here's the thing. When you go through a disc profile, most people have one of those that is a dominant factor in their life. And they have a secondary that is also influential in what they're doing. So why is this important, especially when it comes to real estate? Think about this. How many of you have dealt with a husband and wife, partners, team, whoever's buying or selling a property, and you immediately get along with one, and the other one's a little bit more challenging to get along with, right? Okay. So that's what you're finding right there. When you look at your life, who do you spend time with? People that are like you or people that are not like you? Who are your best friends? People that are like you or people that are not like you? Okay. All right. So when you think about this and you think about as we go through everyday life, you are going to come in contact with every single one of these personality profiles, right? But how do you become a chameleon almost to be able to have a real conversation with all of them and to be able to effectively show value and find out who and what each one of those personalities is really looking for and what their goals are. And that's a challenge. How many of you guys have kids? Okay. All right. So two things on that one. One is when you're speaking with your kids, are you patient enough to model their personality, or do you have an impatience where you're going to get your point across no matter what? Be honest. Right? I mean, that's kind of how we're the parent, right? We're supposed to be the parent. Elizabeth said at the beginning, y'all don't want to hear from me, right? You're never a prophet in your own backyard. Anybody heard that one? Okay, right? So if you have kids, here's what's funny. You can have a conversation with your kids 5, 6 times, tell them exactly what to do, how to do it, all of these different things. You think you're being logical and being a parent, right? And they never hear it. Anybody experience that one? And then somebody can come over to your house one time, say the exact same thing, and they are the most brilliant person in the world. Anybody heard that one? Yep, right? How many of you guys have thought about that? Think back to when you were a teenager. And think back, can anybody remember? I can't even remember that far back, but anyway, so you think about this, right? Did your parents know everything? No, they knew nothing, right? How old were you when you finally figured out your parents were right? Okay. Some of you still haven't. I can see that in your faces right now. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's my daughter, by the way. She hadn't figured that part out yet either, so it's okay. So here's why I bring this up. Your kids are not exactly like you, right? And that's a challenge with us. And it bleeds over into everything that we do on a daily basis because it's a personality profile. Now, they're like you, but they're not exactly like you. They're going to have different personalities based on their parents, right? Which parent is which? Who is the influential people in their lives and what are their personality profiles? If you look at it, if you hung out with the same people that you hung out with in high school, are they like you or different? They're like you, aren't they? Right? Because you all had the groups. How many of you were in the smart persons group? Okay, how many of you were jocks and athletes and all of those? How many were geeks, right? You realize that this is part of the personality profile process, right? We think about this, but if you think about how this works and what we're doing, if you truly want to be successful in real estate and in life, you've got to become a chameleon and be able to read a personality profile and to be able to adapt to that personality profile. So for example, who are my S's that are in here? Okay, perfect. Who wants to do a little role play with me real quick with an S? Peggy, you want to come off mute for a second?
Yes.
All right, you ready? So Peggy, you're an S, correct?
Yes.
All right, awesome, good. Peggy, hey, what we're going to do today is we're going to go through, see 3 houses. We're going to see them really quick. We're going to go through and we're going to pick one and you're going to get, is that all right? Ready? Can you guys see her face? Look at her face. She's already cut off the conversation. She is done with me at that point in time, aren't you? It is over, right? The difference is that you've got to look at that piece of it. And you're going to say, okay, here's an S. And I'm going to show you guys some charts and we're going to go over these in detail, right? And I'll give these to you. Hey, Peggy, here's one of the things when we're going through and touring these homes, I want to make sure that you feel safe in these homes and that it's actually giving you the things that you want to do. So tell me a little bit about what you're looking for.
Okay.
Look, do you see the difference in the face? Right?
And I'll open up. Yes.
And she's going to open up, right? So what's the difference? What was the difference between conversation 1 and 2? What'd you guys see?
I felt like it was too much at the beginning. It's like, "Wah," and like just the way you came was too aggressive for me versus the second just guiding me and knowing what to expect that okay, I'll, I trust him, or I'll go ahead and go and like I'll open up.
Yeah, it's a big difference, right? So I am a high D. I was told early on in my career that, as a matter of fact, somebody told me you're a flaming D. Okay. I had a D that was always at the top of the line. So think about how challenging that could be if you're talking with the majority of the population, because what's the percentage of population that are D dominant? By the way, there are 4 different personality profiles that are dominant. So if you're thinking of a percentage of the population that's one of them, what would you guess would be the percentage? I know it's early.
25%.
There you go. Thank you so much, Takara. So if you are always in the D personality or whatever your personality is, you're not necessarily communicating and making a contact on a good basis with 75% of the population. This making sense? Yes? Okay, let me show you guys something. All right, I'll share this with you as well. Kay, I'll send this to you and Elizabeth so you guys can share this. Can you guys see the screen? Good, okay. How do you identify each of these personality profiles? Let's start with a C. How many of you are C's? Anybody? I don't see. Nobody? Okay. So think about this. If you're looking at a C personality and you're talking with a C personality, they want details, right? They're the engineer type. They're the ones that want to put everything on a spreadsheet, get all of the details because they are exacting, they're precise, they're analytical in this process. If you're a D and you start doing this and you give them 3 pieces of something and say, make a decision, what are they going to do? They're going to shut off very, very quickly. So you want to give detailed information. You want to answer questions patiently, give time to think and decide, because they're not going to make a decision on the spot, right? They're going to make sure that they look at all of the different options, evaluate those options, and then they're going to come into the process of actually making a decision. Okay? So a D, you guys know the D, right? Decisive, tough, and patient, strong will. They are the competitors, right? I have to win at all costs. Any of you got, how many of you are Ds? Okay, ready, fire, aim. Does that sound familiar? Right? We're going to go, and there's a wake in behind us of a lot of disaster over our lifetime. Yeah, see, look at the D's going like that, right? That's the reality of it. But and that's okay, because that's the one that you can go to. You can give them 3 options and say, okay, which one you want, and they're going to make a decision really quick. And notice the speech pattern. What happened to my voice when I started talking about a D? Quickly,
Went
right?
fast.
And this, yes, it's fast, right? So think about this process as you're going through this. By the way, notice that each time that we talk about one of these things, what happens to my voice? Does it change?
Changes to accommodate.
It does, doesn't it? Thanks, Valencia. So you think about this process. That's what we want to be able to do. We want to be able to modify our personality so that we can get along with each person. Let me say that differently. We want to be able to adapt to each personality that we come across to make sure that we're giving them the information like they want it and communicating on their level. What was the difference between, I said the same thing twice, didn't I? Did you see the difference in how I said it? Okay, let's talk about an I. All right, here we go. We talk about the social, the talkative, the energetic. They're the ones on stage. They are the ones that who are going to capture everybody's attention. They're enthusiastic. Notice the arms that are doing this as well. The speech goes up. It's faster. It's grandiose. Focus on the positive. We're going to have fun in there. We're going to do that. Okay. All right. An I wants to talk. An I wants to be the center of attention. How many of your eyes?
Yeah. I don't like the way you talk about me, Ralph.
Oh, yes, you do, Valencia. I know you. All right. So this is the process that we go through when we are modifying and when we're looking at the different personality profiles. Okay, let's go back to the S, right? Calm, steady. Remember the conversation at the beginning? We want to make sure that we're listening. We're asking questions. We want to be trustworthy in their minds, because if we're not, guess what happens? You have no chance, none whatsoever. Slow down, take your time, make sure that you're providing assurances and support. Parents, by the way, when you're thinking about your children, what do you morph into when you're thinking about your children? An S. An S. Why? Safety, security. Does this make sense, right? When you're thinking about, you want your kids to be safe, right? Kay Evans, do you want her to be safe? Elizabeth, do you want your 4 kids to be safe? Right? That's what we're looking at when we look at that. Okay. Beware, by the way, if you don't deliver for an S, you are also done. It is over. Okay. All right. Let's look at this. How do you communicate with these different styles? So when you're looking at this, it is a communication piece. Do you usually, if you're having a process where you are selling real estate, is it one person or 2 people that are the buyers or the sellers most of the time? 2 people, right? Are they both the same? How do you build a relationship with both people at the same time?
Adapt to their personalities.
Yes. In the ways that you adapt, what all is included in that, Takara?
Analyzing what both of them want.
Okay. Yes. What else? How do you adapt to be able to build a relationship with multiple personalities at the same time in the same room?
The type of questions I ask them and how they respond lets me know what they like.
Well, yes, you're on the right track. There's something else that I'm looking for too. Let's say that, who's a D? Raise your hand. Okay. Who's an S? Okay. Savannah and Elizabeth. All right. Ready? So if we're in the same room, do you think that the speech pattern is different between Savannah and Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I adapt to one or both at the same time?
One.
Okay. Do you think that the body language is different or the same for them at the same time?
Different.
How many different ones can I change my body language to help and to associate and to build a relationship at one time?
I mean, just one. I don't know how you could do 2 at a time.
Exactly. But can you change your speech patterns?
Yes, your
And
tone.
the way that you're in the tone and the things that you're asking, and change your body language for the other one at the same time?
I'm sure you can, Rob. Please teach us how.
Yes. And that's exactly it, right, Savannah? So here's the thing. If we're going in here and I'm sitting in a room, right, I'm watching now, I can't see Elizabeth, all of her right now, but I can tell you that she's kind of doing like this. I can tell you where her arms are. They're like that, right? Now she's doing you're on mute right there. Right?
I promise they're not crossed. It's just the way I'm sitting in this chair with my feet up on this in this hotel room. So I know.
Oh, wait a minute. The feet are up there. Okay. So here's what we're doing. Okay. So I got my feet up here on the desk now, and I'm leaning back. Now I've got so that's body language, just like this, right? And notice what else is going on. So Savannah's the D. So my tone of my voice and the speech pattern of what I'm doing is what? It's faster, isn't it? Right? But what's my body language doing? It's Elizabeth's. You guys see that? So if I want to do that opposite, then I can change that pattern and I can do this, because look at this one. So Savannah's doing what with her body language? And again, it's harder in Zoom, but I can still tell a little bit. She doesn't have her feet back. She's got a little bit forward lean, doesn't she? Right? A little bit closer to the computer. But now my speech pattern slows down so that I'm talking with Elizabeth and I'm hitting the things that she wants to do with her S-type personality and making sure that I'm getting the details and making sure that she's comfortable. But also my body language is leaning forward. So notice Savannah, that she's still doing this.
But it kind of honestly, when you slow down your speech, I just noticed in my pattern, as you lean forward and you slow down your speech, it actually made me focus a little more on what you were saying, but it also made me anxious. Like it was kind of a strange mixture there.
Yes, that's what it is, right? See, when you look at this, here's the thing, and here's where you know that you are in, that you've got something going on with both of them. If you all of a sudden, if I was in here and say I have my feet up on the table and Elizabeth and I are talking, and I've got Savannah in the room at the same time, so my speech pattern and my tone is going faster. If I take my feet off of the table or the chair and I lean forward and Elizabeth follows me, guess what? Game over. It's done. Right? Or if I change my body language and Savannah does this, or if I change my speech pattern and they model and mirror what I'm doing, then all of a sudden now I have got both of their attention and I'm communicating correctly. You guys see how this works? Yes. Okay. So when you're looking at these things, that's what you want to be. By the way, this is not an overnight process. It is not an overnight process. I would highly recommend that you start practicing this. Start with your family and your kids, because do this as well. Okay. So I don't know if you guys noticed this, but notice I leaned forward and I have my hands up here. Savannah, freeze. Okay. So watch this. Try this with your kids. And I want you to look at this piece as well. When you are communicating with that D personality, it's direct, it's brief, it's to the point, right? You're sticking to business. It's business. You can get on the high points. You can give 3 solutions. You can give 3 different options and they're going to pick one. It's not emotional. Now, here's the big piece too. Watch out for personal space. That's a big part of it as well. Personal space is important and it's different between all of these. Okay. C, data and facts. Remember, that's your engineer. That's the one that wants the spreadsheet when you're doing it. So it's much more detail oriented. Patient, slow down, respect personal space as well. And S, patient, build trust. Draw out their opinions. Present the issues logically. Make sure that you relax and allow time for discussions. Can you see the difference if you have a D personality, an S, or a C and an I, where you really have to adapt and make sure that you are asking the right questions to make sure that they are trusting you and building that process? Okay. Define responsibilities. Slow down the approach. The I, hey, you got to talk about the sky. You got to talk about all the fun that they're having in there. Let's see, Elizabeth laughed at that, right? You got to smile, you be animated. It's a fun environment when you're doing that, and let them speak and make sure that you give a lot of these. Oh, that's awesome. Way to go. All right, I'm gonna come off of this for a second. What are your initial thoughts?
I'm really hooked. I'm very interested and I want to be able to perfect everything you're talking about. I'm actually a D and an S. So yes. My husband is a C and whatever, an I guess. So it's really interesting. And our kids are very much like, my daughter is very much like me and my son is very much like my husband. So this, I'm very invested. I'm excited about this. Thank you for.
You brought up a great point too. Each of us have 2 things. Sometimes I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm everything. Yes, we are. And we can adapt to each one of them, which is the strength of being human and what we can do. You will always have 2 of them, though, that are dominant. Always have 2 of them that are dominant. Think about this, and let's think about it in your real estate career. And we talk about this in the Rockstar Agent program as well. But how many of you have been uncomfortable in the past with some kind of a lead generation piece that you tried that you just didn't like? Yeah. Okay. What was it? Go ahead. You come off mute. Tell me, what was it?
Hate cold calls.
Cold calls. Okay. Cold calls. What's your personality profile, Kay?
So I'm naturally an I, but I feel like I make myself an S when it comes to my professional life. So it's interesting how I turn one and the other off, but I'm an I when it comes to when I want to lead generate.
So think about this. Now, you were talking about open houses, correct? So you were uncomfortable with cold calls, but you're very comfortable with open houses, and you have gotten more comfortable with it. Think about that in our real estate profession. Who's going to be comfortable with doing cold calls?
D.
Yeah, because they'll get on the phone. They're going to blow through them. They're just looking for 1 out of 100. It doesn't matter. They're looking for the no's because in their mind, they're thinking, oh, the more no's I get, the closer I get to an S. And they don't mind picking up that phone, and they don't mind calling people that they don't know because they're not interested naturally in building a relationship. They're interested in closing the sale. Think about that, right? On the I side of it, you want to be in the middle of the room. You want to be in the middle of the elevator, correct? So where is naturally the best place for you to do lead generation? Events, open houses, networking, all of those different things. That's your natural progression. This makes sense? If we are in real estate and we start looking at in a lead generation piece, it's just as important because we've got to find the part of lead generation that fits our personality. Otherwise, we won't do it and we won't get good at it. And we won't spend enough time where it actually benefits and the results start coming in. So it's just as important in lead generation. And that's one of those things we don't talk about enough, right? It's why there's one of the reasons probably why there's an 85% failure rate, because how many of you have been to an event or a class or a workshop that said, and somebody on stage that's had massive success and they said, here's what I should do. And all of a sudden you're thinking, well, God, I got to do that. Really? Are you serious? And you dreaded doing it. Anybody been in there? All of us, right? But then you go to a different one and all of a sudden it clicks and you go, oh yeah. And you click with the speaker, you click with the person that's doing the class because it fits your personality and they're more like you. And what they're saying, you're going, oh, I can see myself doing that. Yeah. Guys, this is one of the big pieces. If you guys find 1 or 2 things in lead generation that fit your personality based on the DISC test, you win this game. And then if you want to enhance it more, you practice the modeling and mirroring and getting to know who it is that you're having conversations with and adapt to those people. And all of a sudden, you'll double, triple, quadruple what you're doing and your success rate. Does this make sense? Yeah? Okay. Questions? Y'all are quiet.
What are ways?
Comment about open houses is I notice that I'm really eager to be friendly and that I scare people off sometimes because I'm like their best friend when they walk through the door. And so I keep catching myself thinking that I need to pause and observe them before I'm just like, hi.
Yes. Well, let's talk specifically about that one. So an open house. What are usually when somebody comes into an open house, are they comfortable or are they a little intimidated and scared of walking into somebody else's house they've never been in that they don't know? Right? So when they come into an open house, instead of doing this, because think about this, when was anybody been car shopping lately? No? Okay. So do you remember when you went car shopping? Okay. When you went into and onto the lot, did you have the salespeople running across the parking lot to greet you? I mean, seriously. And when they said, oh, thank you, welcome, what brings you out today? What'd you do? Get away from me, I'm just looking, right? Okay, so think about this. When somebody walks into an open house, it's very similar. They're a little intimidated. It's not their house. They're not comfortable. They don't know the owners, those things. So instead, introduce yourself. Hey, my name's Kay. I'm an agent doing the hosting of this. I'm not going to breathe down your neck, but I want you to welcome to the open house, give you just a quick layout, and then I'm going to let you go explore. 3-bedroom, 2-bath. The master and the kitchen is over here. There's another 2 bedrooms and a bathroom behind me. Notice how I'm standing as well, right? With the openness leading towards where? The master in the kitchen. Great, explore, check out this. Make sure you look at the California closet that's in there as well. My partner, by the way, is in the kitchen and they'll give you the details if you have questions. So now all of a sudden they're relaxed and they know you're not like this. right? And it gives you time to think, and you just controlled the flow of the open house, right? Make sense? Yeah. Try that next time. Oh, by the way, that's taught in the Mega Open House program. Just want to let you know. All right. Savannah, you had something. You can.
I
Yeah,
was gonna
practice.
ask for other ways to practice. I know you said practice with your family. I am a very eager person as well, and I don't pause in life ever. So how do I start? I mean, I guess I just start by trying to remind myself to pause. I mean, that's my problem. Like, how do I remind myself to pause, I guess?
It's just a challenge, not a problem. It's all right.
The challenge.
that you can work on, right? All right. So when you're starting this, here's one of the first ones. How many Zoom calls are you interacting with on a daily basis?
Like a couple a week, not every day.
Good. Oh, I'm proud of you for saying that. Congratulations. You're winning already. Good. All right. Start there. How many times are you speaking with anybody in a given day?
All the time.
Practice there. Every time that you meet somebody, kind of stop and step back a little bit and try to see, are they a D, an I, an S, and a C? Which one? Which one's dominant? Which one's secondary?
I already have one in mind, this girl who I play tennis with, and our sons play baseball together, and she is an I to a T. She's so calm, and I'm always like, man, we can never be friends. Like, I'm sure she thinks I'm a lot, but we had a moment this past Friday, and I was very more subdued. I was listening, I was telling a story, and she was very engaged. And I was like, okay, when I'm on her level, she's more engaged. And so what you're saying makes sense.
That's it for all of us, right? It goes back to the same thing. You think about this. Are there family members that you relate to more and want to spend more time with than others? Be honest. Okay. All right. How many of you gravitate towards your mom or your dad? Come on, be honest.
I gravitate towards my dad, and we're similar in personality.
Bingo. That's it. There's your challenge, right? That's what we want to learn and want to get better at, because this is not a natural thing. Our natural interactive piece is to be what our normal thing is, right? It's to be the D, it's to be the I, to be the S, to be the C. It's difficult to adjust your tone of voice, your speech patterns, and your posture to match other people, especially if they're not like you. And 75% of 3 out of 4 people that you're speaking with are not like you. You guys see why usually we truly have such a small friend circle, right? That's why, because 3 out of 4 people are not like you, which means that you're going to, in your natural state, gravitate towards the ones that are like you. Have you heard somebody on TV that starts talking that all of a sudden you just cringe and go, oh, yeah, right? We all know that. And then you have the opposite piece of that where all of a sudden it's just, oh, yeah. And it doesn't matter necessarily what they're saying. It's how they're saying it and what their speech pattern is. And all of a sudden we feel like there is a connection with those people. If you're standing in a room, are you gravitating towards people that are like you or not like you? So here's your challenge. Start going to the group that is not your natural one and just listen. That's going to be hard, Savannah, for you. Okay. It is. Anybody that is an I or a D is going to have a really bigger challenge going to an S or a C group and just standing and listening. And the opposite as well, as if you're an S and a C, put yourself in a D or an I group and just listen for a second, because that's what you're going to do. And then you're going to be able to adapt to that. But it is a challenge. It is a skill. It is absolutely a skill that every one of you can learn if you practice it, and all of you can be really good at it. All of you. All right, what else?
Rob, if imagine I'm a D and the I don't remember which one is dominant, but sometimes I do find myself quiet. I do find myself uncomfortable in some situations. So I think there's kind of these mood swings that we don't know. Well, I don't know if I'm on a call with you, Rob. Maybe you just got some bad news and you went from a D to a C, right? So how do I actually, before I find myself defining what type of personality do you have, how can I protect myself of by choosing one, I'm not like completely destroying my approach, right?
Yeah.
I might think you're a D, but you're just an S that did a lot of tequila shots, you know?
Yes.
So
Yes.
like, well, how can I get to the bottom of it?
Dude, spot on. Valid point. Ask questions. Right? Ask questions and find out how they respond to the questions. Because you're going to see the natural personalities. And yeah, it could be, you know, a bar and tequila shots can change somebody's personality.
Yeah.
Right? We've all seen that at the various different places that we go to. And if you can ask the right questions and listen to the answer, because when somebody answers, and here's the easiest thing too. Everybody knows the conversations about Ford, family, occupation, recreations, and dreams. Okay. If you get somebody and find something that they enjoy, whether it's the family, occupation, recreation, or dreams, and if you can get them talking about that subject that they enjoy, they will be their natural self. That makes sense? Okay. So for example, if I'm having a conversation with Elizabeth, you know, we may be talking, I may get her to talk about her kids. Do you think she's going to be natural in her talking about her kids? Yeah. Right. Or talking about real estate, her profession. Right. Same thing with all of you. If you can get somebody talking about what they like, they're going to be themselves in the answers and the responses. And you're going to see the body language change, the speed, the speech pattern, all of it, the tone, levels, everything. Does that make sense? Does that help? Notice the critical piece there. Ask questions.
The one who's asking questions is the one who wins, right?
Always.
And we've talked about, and this is not the topic today, but we've talked about my pre-listing packets. That's one of the reasons I started doing a pre-listing packet as well, because it could help me. If I didn't know who they were, it gave me some insight into their personality when I met with them. So for example, I'd send the pre-listing packet a couple days in advance or whenever I spoke to them. I have my appointment, I meet with them. I could tell just by how they filled it out, if they did at all, what personality, right? So a lot of times the D's might have opened it, looked at it, didn't fill anything out, right? The I's have it all filled out, everything like very wordy. You could just kind of figure out from how they reacted to your pre-listing packet. So when I'd sit down with them, I knew how to approach them. But to Rob's point, you have to be adaptive. And I always thought I was an I, and I think you change over time too, as you grow and mature, and you, whether personally or professionally. And so now I'm much more, I did this DISC profile when I went through success coaching to become a certified success coach. They did a really, really in-depth DISC. So there's some high level DISC, but there's some really detailed DISCs. And after I got my results back, I literally tuned out. And Dr. Abelson said, "What's going on? I see your body language," right, Rob?
Yes.
I was like, "This
Yes.
isn't right." He's like, "What do you mean this isn't right?" I go, this isn't my personality type. And it had me as a very high S. And I'm like, I have never been an S, but it's also how you perceive S, or if you're at very high level, it's like, oh, S is just calm and steady. And I'm calmer now than I was when I was younger, but calm and steady didn't really describe me. But then when you go into the detail and the depth, then you really understand, oh, that is more my personality. And that's who my personality is changing into. So to Tomas's point, you can have a dominant, and I'm a D a lot of times, but I'm an S most of the time. My I is very, very low now. It used to be very high. So it's interesting to even do them over time and see kind of where your strengths and, I don't want to even say weaknesses, because you can use, those as opportunities, but it's interesting to see where the DISC can not only help you communicate with other people, but also introspective and seeing who you are as a person and as a business professional.
You mentioned Abelson. may I give everybody a little gift here? Oh,
Sure, we like gifts.
how about a free Abelson disc test?
Oh, that's huge. Y'all, those are not inexpensive with Dr. Abelson. So
No,
that is a
about-
huge gift.
150 bucks, I think.
That's amazing.
All right, I'm gonna split this message into the chat. I will send it to you as well so that you can send it out to, bear with me, let me find my chat again. There's the chat. Okay, here's part one of this. There is you go to Abelson and you'll see that link in there that you want to put in, which is that 444619 link. And then here is the second part of it. And this, in my opinion, I think you probably may agree with this. The Abelson's probably the best one and the most complete one out there.
It's really good. I've done a lot of personality profiles and things over the years. This one's really, really good. And again, it had me thinking differently. Rob, when you send over the other links in an email or something, can you send that to both Kay and myself? And then guys, what we'll do is we'll put it in, because this is being live streamed into our tribe group. So then what we'll do is we'll put it in the comments there so you guys all have access to it, right? So even though those that aren't on the call today, they can have access to it. So that would be huge.
I'm gonna do something else as well with them, and I'm gonna share this with you guys too, and I'll send this to you because I think this is one of those huge pieces. Right?
Oh, cool.
So if you look at disc and lead generation, if you're dominant, well, here you go. If you're an I, here you go. If you're an S, if you're a C, and then all personalities.
Susan, I just saw your message. Is it okay if you disagree with your profile assessment? And it is, and that's where I was. I was absolutely not on board with it. But then once you start doing a little digging and you're really understanding it, because some of them will say, well, this is what it means. But if you really start digging, and I think what Rob just showed on the screen will be very helpful, you may surprise yourself. And I was very, very surprised by that. But don't overthink it when you're going in these disc profiles. Okay, when you're doing your assessments, don't overthink it. Don't think, okay, I need to get the right answer. There's not a right answer. You need to answer it just your first gut and go through it. And then it's going to give you that assessment. But sometimes I think people overthink it and think that if they answer it in one way, it's going to be wrong. You can't answer them incorrectly, and we're all going to have different assessments.
Yeah, spot on. And you just did a big one. If you have to think about your answer for more than about 20 seconds, you're way overthinking. Go with that gut reaction on the answers. Okay. All right. I'm sending all of this. I'm going to send you the quad so you can look at how to evaluate. I'll send you the free Abelson ones. I'm going to send you the disc with the lead profile or the lead generation opportunities for each one of them as well. Yeah. What else can I do? By the way, you got to practice this stuff. All right. We can sit here and we can talk about it all day. And if we don't practice it and work on it, I kid you, do this with your family. You will be amazed at what you can get your kids to do if you do this. You that have kids. Be careful. Don't use this. Oh, this, by the way, everybody remember, did you see Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a huge part of why Jordan Belfort was successful, is this. So use this for good, not for bad.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. This is, y'all, is this interesting or helpful? It's
Very.
just little things like this that you implement into your daily knowledge and your daily basis and your daily learning. And you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like Rob said, you need to practice this kind of stuff. And it's so valuable in just communicating. And again, I've known about this for a long time, and it was how I was slowly approaching with my clients. But even when you start reading into this, into your own personality, but then reading how to interact with other people, it's just fascinating to me. And I can usually figure out a profile pretty quickly now when I walk into any situation, right? People think I'm a big extrovert. I'm not. I'm very much an introvert, right? But I can be very adaptive now when I walk into a situation. And being an extrovert actually, or being an adaptive extrovert actually exhausts me. So like if you guys see me in the conferences or things like that, like I'm on all the time and then I just kind of hide in my room. Like I'm hiding in my room right now. So it's funny because you can learn how to be adaptive no matter what personality you're encountering. And it just makes us more well-rounded. So I'm super excited about this. And Rob, I knew that you would be able to bring the fire to the call this morning. So thank you.
I'm with you. I'm a D and a C. I mean, I'll do these things.
I can totally see the C with you.
Yes, you on the other side on the platform and doing all of those things, right?
Yeah.
And it's but the D is the one that's off the chart. And
Yeah.
it's just I can get out there and we can do these things, but you can ask Janie. Once the day ends, I don't want to talk. I want to go hide in a corner.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's a lot. I have no C in me whatsoever.
Oh.
I am like, oh, okay, I'll do it, but it's painful. So you just also want to surround yourself. That's the other thing. You want to surround yourself with a team or a number of people that supplement or complement what your skill set is, right? So I have Kay and I have similar personalities in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of things that she's great with that I'm not great with. My TC's been with me 12 years. She is a C all the way. She's an SC, which is what I needed because I don't want somebody that's exactly like me. We're not going to get anything done. So when you're looking to hire people, you're looking for a TC or you're looking for an assistant or you're looking for a buyer's, like look for different people that don't necessarily have the same skill set as you. Obviously you want to be able to work together, but they complement each other. And so you'll be unstoppable then.
You brought up, that's a huge point right there. If you think about the different, you think about transaction coordinators, right? Who do you want? Do you want a D and I or an S and a C? S and a C.
S and a C.
Because they're detail oriented. They're going to make sure that everything gets done. Let me tell you, you do not want a D as a TC. Because they are.
Or an I, because they'll talk to everybody and never.
That's right. And not get anything done, right? And the D is going to leave a wake of your clients. Don't do it.
And here's the cool thing too. Whenever I would hire some people, y'all, I was hiring wrong because I was just like, oh, I like them. This is going to be fun, whatever. I always have people do their DISC profile too when I'm interviewing them. Right. So keep that in mind too, because then you can really see, I mean, somebody can tell you certain things in an interview and you can see a resume, but when you have them do a DISC profile, you can't fake the personality test. I mean, once you guys do them and you read the questions and you understand what we're talking about, you're going to understand that there's not a way to manipulate the results. You just can't do it. So it allows you to hire differently or make decisions differently based on that data and that information. So just something.
I was going to add. Oh, go ahead.
Go.
Yeah,
go quickly.
Oh, I was going to add two things because I'm like Elizabeth. The one and the same, I guess, in a sense, because I used to be a high S, and then some kind of way I became a high I. And then I think once I start entering retirement, I'll probably be an S again because I probably want to fade back and just enjoy.
Yeah.
But I always, throughout my entire life, my mom would go get friends, go do this, go do that. And I'm talkative, but I never liked being in a crowd of people, never liked being like, I was a high introvert, and I tell anybody I'm an introvert. They're like, no, you're lying. I'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm serious. I'm an introvert. So one of my sisters said to me one time, she says, you're no introvert, you're an ambivert. That's who you are. And I'm like, an ambivert. She says, yeah, it's like being ambidextrous. You can do a little bit of both. You got to splash of both. And so I was like, man, so when I took my disc leaned more towards people person. So I wasn't introverted or extroverted. I was a people person. I valued quality relationships. So I'm like you. As soon as I'm done, it's exhausting. I want to go in my room. I don't want to be bothered. I want to hide in my own zone, read, do whatever I want to do, right? And not be out front. And I know the quickest way to the exit when I come off stage. I don't, I'm straight to the exit, straight to my room. And so I'm the same way. So I realized, okay, you're more people person when it came to that. And then to also agree with what you were saying about hiring the same personality types, high eyes, you know, venturing to S's, you know, kind of going in between S's, we will ruin relationships and not even know it subtly. Because like you said, we hire because we like, right? But then it's hard to fire. And then when you do have to fire, then they think, oh, she's not as loving, she's not as caring as she says she is. I absolutely am. You're not doing your job, you know, but that's because I hired the wrong personality type. So I wanted to chime in on that and just kind of give a little more in depth that, you know, I think with you, Elizabeth, it's the same thing. You value quality relationships, probably someone that you really vibe with. You can be in their presence all day, but, you know, and not have to escape and not have to run, you know, to the room necessarily. So you're a people person. That's what you are. Quality relationships.
I want to Elizabeth said something.
I'm a relationship person. Yeah.
Yeah, Elizabeth said something that was interesting a little while ago, and it'll be the last thing. I'll just leave you guys with this. You said that you like to do a pre-listing package because it'll help you determine what they are, and you're spot on. Do you do listing presentations and buyer presentations?
Do I?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's the other reason I do a pre-listing packet presentation, because it limits the amount of time I have to do the listing presentation.
Yeah.
It's a time saver for me, actually, because again, I don't want to be talking to somebody for 2 or 3 hours just because that's just not my personality.
Yep. Think about that. So pre-listing presentation, pre-listing packages. If it's got all the marks on it and everything's circled and it's red and everything's done with it, you know what they are. If they haven't even opened it, it's still in the envelope, you know what they are.
Exactly.
Exactly. Now, here's the other piece too. If you do presentations, if you do a listing presentation and a buyer presentation, you will know who they are by just watching what they do, if you do it right. So, cool. That's all I got.
This is awesome.
There you go.
Rob, we love you, Rob.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
For y'all in Rockstar Agent, you get a lot of Rob, and you know how powerful he is. So thank you. For you guys that are not in Rockstar Agent, meet Rob. He adds so much value, and there's so many cool things down the pipe. So Rob, I'll have you come back in other times if you don't mind, because you've got so many cool things you can teach, and we just appreciate your time this morning with us.
It is my pleasure. Anytime. You know I'm here to help. So yes.
You're amazing. You're amazing. All right, y'all. Have an amazing Friday. Have an amazing weekend. You know, if you need any of us, we're all here, and just be great. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.
By the way, Kay, Elizabeth should be in your email already.
You're awesome. Thanks, friend.